Fans, it's another special edition of the Pro Wrestling Report, Prime Time, here on Friday, May 27, 2016. We're continuing our discussion on the big news of SmackDown moving to live on Tuesdays in July, along with another brand split, distinct rosters for Raw and SmackDown on WWE programming starting in July. Tonight, we're going to do Be the Booker for who should comprise those two rosters.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime Friday. It's a special Friday edition with the big news this week coming from the world of professional wrestling. We're bringing you 3 brand new episodes of Primetime. So here is the middle edition on Friday. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius Tiberius, the alleged backyard, one-time knockout, straight-edge, hardcore Hall of Famer hero. David, how are you here on a Friday?
I never got the countdown knowing that you were starting.
It's the beginning. You don't get. That's what they tell you in your ear.
I took the gimmick off.
Oh, what about the signs that we put up that show timing and starting and ending and the applause light?
I gotta get these fixed.
You probably should. I think it's what's behind them that is the problem. So we are going to ask you, what are your big plans for this big weekend? Memorial Day weekend.
You know what?
Barbecue?
Well, no, not really. I mean, Uncle Al Snow's in town this weekend.
Tonight, I understand.
Yes, we'll be hanging out. We're going to come by you for the barbecue.
He's not barbecuing?
Monday. You are.
I'm not barbecuing. I'm busy on Monday.
You said you have the most authentic barbecue in Gurney.
On June 19th every year, I do, but not on Memorial Day weekend.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Well, because I just do it on June 19th.
Al's in town. We're going to, find some shenanigans. We're going to hang out at Six Flags.
Don't look too hard for him.
We're going to
only find trouble.
Yes. But
that could be your name.
It's going to be blast.
Well, let's get right down to it, folks. And yesterday,
you know what? I knew a girl named Trouble.
Yesterday, on a special Thursday edition of Primetime, we discussed the announced. Where did it come from? I almost said annual. The announced WWE brand split, which will accompany the move to Tuesdays for SmackDown, which will now air live. With that, we wanted to take a look at the potential rosters from both brands. And tonight, we are going to fantasy book the SmackDown brand and the Raw brands under the assumption that they will be indeed distinctly different. Now, first, David Hero, we're going to start with, well, what do you want to start with? Do you want to start with Raw or SmackDown?
I think we should start with Raw. That's the flagship show.
Raw. Let's do this first. If we're going to start with Raw, I first want to hear you, David, tell me who you think is going to play that general manager role of the Raw brand.
If it's up to me, it's definitely going to... Oh, wait a minute. Well, here's the thing.
What's the thing?
If it's going to be an NXT-based SmackDown...
That's what you're saying.
Or it's going to be an NXT-based Raw, then you got to have Triple H and Stephanie, wherever the NXT-based is going to be, because those are his kids. He's most familiar with those talents.
When you say NXT-based SmackDown, I believe some clarification is necessary because I hear you as saying NXT becomes SmackDown.
No. Just it'll be heavily featuring more of the NXT talents.
Okay.
And that would be Triple H and Stephanie would be in charge of that brand.
So the confusion that currently exists or existed between heel Triple H in WWE and face Triple H running NXT could be resolved.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to write the Raw side here. You say that is led by Trips.
Yes.
And his wife, Stephanie?
Yes.
How do we get there?
Well, I think they do a coin flip.
But Triple H currently not involved in the storyline.
But he will always be involved. He'll eventually pop in. I mean, I think that's the best way to do it, is let Stephanie continue to have Raw and Shane go to SmackDown.
Shane to SmackDown.
Shane is more hip than Stephanie.
So Triple H and Stephanie would remain on Raw.
Right.
With the NXT kids.
If that's where the NXT kids are. But I think they'll wind up on SmackDown.
Well, we're doing this completely. So you're going to say, you would put Triple H and Stephanie on SmackDown.
On SmackDown, yes.
Okay. Do you have a pink pearl eraser with you?
No, everything I do is always...
Is it? Because I just simply wrote down, and you write the SmackDown side. You can be the head writer for SmackDown, David Hero. That'll end well.
That would make the
most sense. It'll last about 2 weeks before you lose interest. So, and then Shane O'Mac over here.
Yes.
All right, so We're going to pick 10 names. We're going to start with Raw, unless you'd like to start with SmackDown.
No. We can start with.
We're going to pick 10 names.
Why are you making this so difficult?
I'm asking you. I'm working with you on this.
A few weeks ago.
I'm working with you on this, asking which one you want to start with.
Let's start with Raw.
Raw?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start with Raw. So we're not going to go in order except for the number one. So who is the talent on the top of the card on Raw branded shows?
Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Absolutely.
Roman, the endorsed Roman Reigns.
Yes.
Okay. Do tell.
Well, because they've invested the most time and money into him. Shipping him to SmackDown to then get that brand going, I think, is a mistake and doesn't give him the credit he deserves.
For the work he's done.
Yes.
But he sucks.
No, he doesn't.
He still sucks.
He's actually very solid. He's a great performer.
That's not what I heard last Sunday.
Well, but you need to clear your ears because...
No, you didn't hear it?
No.
You gotta start watching on the U.S. broadcast feed, the English feed, not the German feed.
I like the ESP feed.
Roman Reigns on top of the Raw
Sounds
brand.
like they're singing instead of talking.
Roman Reigns on top of the Raw brand. Who would you put for the rest of the 9 spots on Raw? Who would that brand be built around, David Hero? We could rapid fire this.
Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens, okay. But he's one of those NXT guys.
Not anymore. He's been up for Raw now for over a year.
Yeah, that's true.
Dean Ambrose, number 3.
Dean Ambrose, another one of those NXT guys.
He's been up for like 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
I then probably have...
Well, you can have those Asylum cage matches on Raw.
Yes. I'll send Cesaro.
Cesaro, the Swiss Superman.
Yep.
Did you buy your suit yet? The one that...
No.
With the gimmick?
No. And Rusev.
Rusev.
Yes.
To Raw.
The U.S. champ goes to Raw.
He is currently the United States champion. So for the purpose of this here, you're using current championships.
No. I would say Rusev as it doesn't make a difference. Rusev definitely goes to Raw.
Okay. Rusev.
Yes.
With Lana?
Of course.
All right.
That's a package.
So far, you've got Roman Reigns leading the Raw brand under the realm of Shane McMahon.
Yes.
Then you've got Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, and Rusev.
Yes.
Now, I challenged you a little bit on this yesterday. Roman Reigns is a great pick, I think. However, Shane McMahon, I feel strongly, must continue to be associated with a new era for the fans to understand that they have to embrace that new era.
But you have Kevin Owens and Ambrose and Cesaro and Rusev.
Under Shane.
Yes.
Shane's the cool McMahon.
Yes.
This is all old school stuff. There's nothing new about any of this. There's nothing new about any of this.
But it's who the fans like.
There's nothing new about it. There's nothing fresh. Shane's talked about new era, bringing in the fresh.
Okay, well then give him Apollo Crews.
You're making him one of the top 10 talents that the company Raw is going to be built around. Okay.
See, but here's what you have to do. You have to make sure that you don't get stuck in the same rut. You need to create new matches and new opportunities. If you keep Owens and Sami Zayn on Raw, they're going to keep having their feud. If you put Rollins and Roman Reigns, they're going to keep you need to break up some of these monotonous matches we've seen over and over again, and the only way to do that is to separate them on two different shows.
Okay.
Right?
I don't agree at all, but I will let you make that point.
You?
Because I don't feel that it's about starting brand new and fresh. I believe it's about reinvigorating the brand. They may not, and they have time because it's July 19th. They may not, they got a lot to finish if that's what they're going to do. If they're going to clean slate it, they got a lot to finish.
Money in the Bank is going to be a huge pay-per-view.
It's going to be.
It's going to set a whole table for them.
Keep in mind, we've also got a TakeOver the week before. NXT TakeOver, I think it's Revenge or Respect or something like that.
With that being said, I bring up Finn Balor.
Finn Balor to Raw.
Yes.
Under Shane McMahon.
Yes.
Now, we've talked about this for a long time, and I think we've both agreed that if you're Finn Balor, you stay down in NXT until Wednesday of this past week when this announcement was made, right?
And then you bring up Bayley.
Bayley, she's injured.
She'll be fine.
Her doctor has been flexible with her, I understand, as far as dates and whatnot.
Well, of course. As far as tag teams,
Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, Rusev, Apollo Crews, Finn Balor, and Bayley.
Enzo and Kaz.
It got interesting at 6, 7, 8. Enzo and Kaz.
Yes.
It was good to see Enzo back this past Monday night, by the way.
His eyes were wide open, weren't they?
He must be, as you would say, shoot crazy. If not, he plays it very well.
Yeah, he does. And then I guess to close that out, you need some vets.
Veterans.
Number 10 is the Wyatts.
Interesting. Okay. Wyatts.
Because now you have an amazing group of characters. You have Wyatts, you have Enzo and Kaz, Bailey. Everyone here is a different dynamic.
There are others who will round out this list.
Of course.
But these would be the 10 you'd see every week, if you will.
Yes. Those are the guys that I would use.
Would you keep Raw at 2 hours or drop it at 3? Or drop it to 2?
It's still at 3.
If you had the opportunity, would you keep it at 3 or drop it to 2?
I would drop it to 2.
Okay. Now keep in mind, and this could be an interesting play, WWE Raw has been added as a replay on Sci-Fi on Friday nights, and they drew 500,000 viewers last week. So perhaps this could be an experiment by the company to see if maybe they can go back to 2 hours of Raw and backfill some of those revenues that they might perceive to be losing with the replay on Sci-Fi on Fridays. That'd be the perfect scenario for us, the fans.
I agree.
Because 3 hours is burdensome on Monday nights, even under this scenario. Burdensome, it's painful.
Yes.
It's a lot to watch.
It's hashtag hurtful.
So this is your Shane McMahon-led Raw roster.
Yes.
You're bringing over the WWE World Heavyweight Champion in Roman Reigns, assuming he makes it that far with the championship, which is a safe bet to make. You're bringing over the United States Champion in Rusev, which is not as safe a bet to make, that he's going to make it to this July 19th date, still the champion. And then you're bringing in 2 people who probably can soon be tag team champions, Enzo and Cass.
Agreed.
And may have been after Payback if
They
not for that injury.
Yeah.
And then the missing Wyatts as well. And Finn Balor coming up to Raw from NXT.
That's not a bad roster.
It's very diverse, I will say that.
And that's what we're going for. You need to create new opportunities.
Well, folks, that is the Raw build, if you will. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to build the SmackDown
We
brand.
can keep going.
We're going to build this. We need to take a break. We've got to pay some bills. We will talk about SmackDown after this brief timeout. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, a special Friday edition of Primetime here on Fight TV and on our YouTube channel. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and we're talking continuously about the big announcement earlier this week from WWE about the brand split and SmackDown moving to Tuesdays going live. Here on tonight's show, what we wanted to do was be the booker for those rosters and to tell you who this guy thinks the 10 top names on those rosters should be, assuming that one show is skewed a bit more towards the new era and the other show skewed a bit more towards the traditional world. Let's look at what you did for Raw, David Hero. Firstly, you would say Raw would be led by Shane McMahon, who would have a centerpiece of Roman Reigns, followed by 9 other focal point talents, if you will. Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, Cesaro, Rusev, Apollo Crews, Finn Balor up from NXT, Bailey up from NXT, Enzo and Cass recently up from NXT, and the returning Wyatts due to Bray's injury.
Yes.
That is your Raw brand.
Yes. Now, here's what I'm going to be guessing, is that SmackDown gets the first pick in the draft.
SmackDown gets the first pick in the draft.
So it goes SmackDown, then Raw, then back to SmackDown. Here's why.
Because you got to move somebody to SmackDown, don't you? Right away.
SmackDown should get the first pick.
Because it's the B show.
It's the new show. It's getting all the love.
Yeah.
So, and this is how I can explain it.
Now, before you do that, you said that Triple H and Stephanie would be at the helm of SmackDown.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to establish that before we go into it.
Well, so with that being said, John Cena is the first pick going to SmackDown, which then forces Shane to take Roman Reigns, the champion, with his #1 pick. So then coming back here, here's where it gets interesting.
I'm waiting.
Number 2 is now
Really?
Seth Rollins.
Splitting he and Reigns up. However, this would be after their matchup at Money in the Bank.
You have to split them up. You really do. There's no question.
Because there's no way Reigns can survive the Rollins.
Oh, God, no. No.
Only because of the fan reaction.
Yes.
In any city, USA. Right now.
Mm-hmm. So then, of course, Seth Rollins goes.
It's interesting.
You got Kevin Owens.
I'm going to draw some lines between the sand or the stars, if you will, just to keep perspective of who's working with who now, if you will, and just so we can see which paths might cross.
Okay. Number 3, that's the easy one for me. This guy here.
Those first 2 weren't?
Well, yeah.
Really?
Yep, AJ Styles, number 3.
Cena, Rollins, and Styles on SmackDown. You started off with a bang over there.
You have to.
Much more so than over on Raw, at least in my opinion, because Seth Rollins is new and fresh because of the injury, and AJ Styles is new and fresh because he's, well, new and fresh, comparatively speaking, to Owens, Ambrose, and Reigns.
Right.
But Cena's an old dog with new tricks.
Yes. Which now brings us to number 4.
The 4th.
And no one's going to be expecting him to come back.
Uh-oh.
That's why you got to go Randy Orton.
Randy Orton, who has come out of the shadows over the last few days.
Is great to work with AJ and Rollins and some of the younger talents, to work with them.
And what role work with them?
Here's the role. Because I like this next guy. I'll explain that in a minute. I like Baron Corbin to go at number 5.
You're real heavy on him.
I am. And I can see Corbin working with Cena and Orton. Because that's the best way for him to get ready, to be upper card, to be that heel that they need on the SmackDown brand.
Okay.
You don't like it, do you?
Well, Corbin's got some work to do.
He does. But what better way to learn than with those 2 guys? And then, of course, you throw in number 6, your boy, Sami Zayn, who can work with AJ and Rollins.
Damn near everybody. He's a 10-year veteran, by the way, is Sami Zayn, which a lot of people don't know.
Which then separates Sami and Kevin Owens.
Ooh, let me draw that line. Because they need to be. Even though I could watch them wrestle once a month for the next 12.
I couldn't.
Well, because you get bored. That does need to come to an end at some point.
It does. And the best way to do that is to separate. It's like a divorce.
I'm not familiar with that term.
One day. Let's see here.
So you've got, let's reset here. You've got John Cena at the top of your Triple H and Stephanie-led SmackDown.
Yes.
You've got Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Baron Corbin, and Sami Zayn.
Yes. You don't like that?
I just reported. I'm not going to pass an opinion yet.
Then you got to bring
get to
over
the vinyl.
your IC champion, The Miz. Because
Who is
must see.
exemplary nowadays.
He's been great.
Is it his surroundings or is it him? I don't mean Maurice. I mean the other people he's been working with.
I think Maurice brings out the best in him.
Yeah.
Makes him look.
Well, speaking of marriage, I'm glad they seemingly are happy there.
Yeah. How about that?
Now the Miz is connected to Zayn, Owens,
Cesaro.
and Cesaro right now. So
Yes.
you could reset the Miz as well.
And then over here, we bring up from NXT, Samoa Joe.
Really?
Yes.
Which they're having a cage match on June 8th.
Keeps them
Joe
apart.
and Balor.
Keeps them apart.
They can settle their feud
Yep.
in NXT on June 8th and be on their way.
Number 9, you get Charlotte.
And the women?
Now, I honestly believe that the tag champs, New Day, should be floating in between both companies. Okay? With that being said, I would also prefer to see Charlotte do the exact same thing. You know? But if you're going to have the women's champ over here, then take Charlotte to SmackDown. Otherwise, have her and New Day floating, and then if that's the case, you could bring any one of the other divas over. Paige, Becky.
Why couldn't you put all the women on one show?
Because you can't. Because
Why
here's
not?
why. Because women draw a rating.
That is historically true. I'm not sure how true it
the
remains.
guys are gonna want to see them on Monday nights.
Or is it reason enough to tune into one of the other shows?
No, because look at how it's split. If you want to see Cena and Rollins and AJ, you got to watch Tuesdays.
But we're talking about with the women right now. We're not talking about Cena, Rollins, and AJ.
But you can't have it all in one, because now you have 9 girls on one show. There's not enough time for all 9 girls.
There's 9 girls on one show now.
In the 3-hour show.
Which it could still be.
It's too much. Split them up. Give them more time on 2 different shows.
Then how is it a brand split?
You can have different girls on each show.
Distinct rosters.
Yes.
Distinct storylines.
Yes.
Distinct writing
teams. They can all be going after the same thing, the championship.
Okay. So they're working separately towards the same goal.
Yes.
I don't like it, but I can accept that.
That's fine. You'll be fine with it. And then over here, number 10, you can either take the Vaudevillains or the Usos or whatever tag team you want and put them over there.
You would do Vauds before the Usos?
Yes.
Now, okay, you would do Vauds before the Club, Anderson and Gallows.
Yeah, I don't know where the Club's going to wind up.
Do you need them with AJ, or is that distraction?
Or they might wind up over here with Finn Balor.
The Balor Club.
Yeah.
Right in front of us.
Yep. You just got to be careful that you don't split up Gallows and Anderson.
Let's go ahead and make something very, very clear. I think that this exercise that you've just gone through is incredibly difficult.
Oh, it sucks. Because you don't know which way it's going to end up.
What matters are several things, and that's why we've done this in a hypothetical, speculative sense, because we don't know how it's going to end up. It could be announced that SmackDown is the Extreme show, and it goes completely in a completely different direction. It could be announced that Raw is that. It could be announced that Raw goes to 2 hours, as we said. It could be announced that SmackDown goes to 3 hours. All of those variables change things substantially. However, given the current situation, the current position of these people in the company, and the current stories that could be developed, this is what you would select. Now, looking at this from a heel-face standpoint, do you think we see some changes in that regard as well? Because you've got face Cena, face Styles. You got to say face Orton, I would say, huh?
Yes.
Heel, face, heel. Could go either way, Joe, right? Sasha is face, whether they want to admit it or not.
Right.
And then it seems like you're floating this 10 spot.
It is. It's 10. It's 10. It doesn't matter.
Over on the Raw side, you got Roman Reigns. Is he a tweener?
Yes.
Really? You got Kevin Owens, who should be nothing ever but a heel, but is also more face than heel. Ambrose, face. So 3 that can fall into the, 1 that really falls in the heel category, 2 that fall in the face category. Cesaro, face. Rusev, heel. Cruz, face. Balor, face.
Who knows?
Really? You'd heel Balor. You'd consider healing Balor?
It depends.
Really? Maybe the Demon could be a heel and the Balor Club could be a face.
It depends what you need out of him.
I don't know how. He's probably a pretty damn good heel. Bayley face. I don't think they ever change that. Enzo and Cass, again, face heels. And the Wyatts heels. That's a lot of work for Roman Reigns as a face to be on top of this brand in a good way, because he needs that, doesn't he?
He does, absolutely. But the only real headache he's going to have is going to be Ambrose and Owens. You have Rollins and Styles and Zayn and Joe over here. Makes it easier for Roman Reigns to survive. Now, of course, who knows where Brock Lesnar is going to fall? I think Brock will show up wherever he wants to show up. And
shouldn't he have that right?
And same with Undertaker.
And shouldn't he have that right?
Yes.
Because they're special attractions. So in essence, much like you said with the tag teams and the women's, which I still don't agree with, the special attraction players can go wherever they want because they're coming in for an event that is probably a special attraction anyways and can be used as such. Now, what do you do with pay-per-views and special events? We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but we don't know the answer to that right now. Will there be 24 events now, or will there be 12?
No, there'll still be 12. And let's say you get 4 matches for SmackDown, 4 for Raw, or 3 and 3.
How do you keep that story going on a single show? If it's going to be 2 separate stories, yeah.
How they do it right now.
But that's,
But
it seems like
the pay-per-view what's going on with all the different talents.
You do, but the assumption then is everybody's watching both shows.
And they will be.
You think SmackDown's going to see 3.3 million viewers a week like Raw is getting right now?
If you get Cena, Rollins, and Styles, absolutely.
On a live basis during the summer?
Yes.
This is fun. This is interesting. This is impossible, but an interesting task.
I just did it. It can't be that impossible.
I think that if you want to claim credit for this, or if you want to say that this is how it is going to be, then
that's
you can
how I
do
would
so.
do it. If it was up to me, that's how I would do it.
Lots of names not listed, though, which is I think, valid, because you're only going to build this around certain people anyways. Everybody else is just going to be playing their role on a lower tier.
Who do you think I missed?
I don't think you missed anybody. I still think that perhaps the club has a larger role than the vaudevillains, if you will. But
I don't know
that's
about
it.
that. What has the club really done since they've debuted?
I'm not sure the vaudevillains are taking very well.
You want to know how I know the vaudevillains? They have plans for them. And some people will laugh and think this is ridiculous. They have a 2-pack coming out in the next month and a half.
He's dead.
No, 2-pack, not Tupac. And they're in
Sure, he just released another album.
they're in the toy line now.
Okay.
So they knew 3-4 months ago they were going to be doing something with these guys.
Oh, Ryback stuff is on clearance.
Well, of course it is.
Plans don't always work out.
Well, I think the vaudevillains might.
Are you a fan of the VODs?
I haven't figured it out yet. I don't know.
Exactly. I think that's the problem.
But this show isn't gauged for me. It's gauged for 7 to 12-year-olds.
You're the one who gets the name of one of the performers, though. What is it, Ed Koch or something like that?
No.
You didn't know this? Frank Gotch?
Gotch.
Gotch. I
Yes.
said Gotch. Frank Gotch, the
Yeah,
wrestler.
yeah.
Canada. Well, you'll play along with us, folks, and we want to see your thoughts, your ideas.
Can you imagine next week's Feedback Friday off of this thing?
Well, I think it's going to be an interesting discussion, though, aside from those who say you're an idiot, you're stupid because they disagree, but those who come up with their own rosters. Here's the thing. Nobody's right and nobody's wrong right now because nobody knows. But it's fun to speculate on, and really, that means WWE's done what they need to do because they've built some intrigue going into this change.
Buzz is what they've done.
Where there was already buzz, though, with Rollins coming back, now Cena coming back, now Orton coming back. You would think that this was very well laid out.
You know? All the releases.
What does that say to those who were released from the company?
They have no plans for you.
Even with this, it says more, doesn't it?
Yes.
Now, we know several were not released per se. Barrett was not released. He asked for it. Cody asked for it. Eden asked for it.
And Adam Rose.
Adam Rose, well, his writing was pretty clear. And Ryback, if he gets released, I mean, he basically would have asked for it too. But
he's going to Impact.
Sorry?
He's going to TNA, isn't he?
I don't know.
Now, don't quote me on that. Just one of the tweets he sent out there.
He said that? He did send out a cryptic one, didn't he? What was it?
About making an impact in the
He sent it out Monday during Raw.
About the impact zone, yeah.
What do you call that?
If he goes to TNA, he's their new world champion. There is no way.
He can play the role. Let's not discount the
way.
abilities of a Ryback.
I mean, hey, listen. And
He would be Ryan Reeves.
I am a big fan of Bobby Lashley and EC3, okay? But you bring a Ryback in, you got to figure he's going to be one of the top guys.
Dixie Carter did an interview just yesterday, I believe, or it was released yesterday when she did in India, where she talked about and answered the question of bringing in these former WWE stars, if you will, and she made a valid point, not only about how they've built their own stars, but about how they've recreated stars such as a Drew Galloway.
Yeah, they have.
They have the writing team. They have the production, the TV team in place right now to do that effectively.
I like Eli Drake also.
Do you?
Yeah. I think he's got something.
Well, folks, that is this Friday edition of PrimeTime.
We do tomorrow, don't we?
And we have another episode of PrimeTime coming up tomorrow night. Of course, that one airing on My 24 Milwaukee, also available here on YouTube and Fight TV. David, do you have a third round in you for this weekend, as far as PrimeTime goes and delivering that?
Well, I'm getting paid for it, right?
Yes, but not overtime. The laws just changed.
What?
Getting ready for Trump. He sealed the nomination.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Did you think that?
No, I did not think the apocalypse would fall so quickly over this country. I really didn't. I thought it'd be a long time from now.
That's only in the X-Men movie this weekend.
Ah, yes. All right, folks, for that one, this is Damian Nelson. We'll see you tomorrow for our weekly Saturday edition
Don't throw it.
of Primetime.